Hi, this is Cycle 2, Week 3, Upside Down Images. You're just going to start talking about fine arts and that what did we do the last 2 weeks? We did oils, we talked about mirror images last week. You can just say maybe what was your favorite so far, and then talk about upside down images. And you can just start a dialogue with them about how do we see upside down images, where are upside down images in water, in reflections, if we turn our head, if you do a handstand, it's an upside down image, those kinds of things. The younger, 4 classes have this book. We've used it in the past. It's a great one to look at, and it just tells you what it is, and you can just read it. A bee masquerades as a pair of goggles, or half of a butterfly, or 2 windows in a tower. So things like that. So if you have younger kids and you feel like at the end you want to go through this, or this is a great one, I know it's at the library, you can tell your parents about it if they want to check it out. Call on kids. If you are going to do that, please call on kids to include everyone, not just the loudest kid or the kid that raises his hand or anything like that. Let's try and get the whole entire class involved in this, and even the kids that maybe don't love art, let's try and include them and show them that there is something for them in this. Okay, our first activity is fairly simple. You're going to just use a piece of colored paper, and you have masking tape in your bin, and you're just going to give kids a sheet of paper, 2 pieces of masking tape, here, in here, or here, in here. Put a name label on before you do this. And then they're just going to stick it underneath a table or a chair if you don't have tables that are like lower. Anyway, underneath something where the kid can then lay flat on their back, and then they're going to draw with a pencil. I'm getting out a pencil. On their back like this. Okay? So that's all they're going to do. I gave you some suggestions. If kids are like, I don't know what to draw, maybe you can have everyone draw what they ate for breakfast, or the best thing they did yesterday, or their favorite sport. So you can give them some guidance if they need it. If they don't, great, go ahead, just let them do whatever they want. That's going to take 5 to 10 minutes total with the introduction and this activity. It's not meant to be long. It's just meant to make them think differently about drawing, because they probably normally draw like this. So if they draw on their back, what are the challenges? What are the influences? You can talk to them through this. What are you guys finding that's harder? What's easier? What's different? What did you think? Those kinds of things. So they're going to take that paper off, have the moms maybe just fold the tape on the back, and then those will go in their art folders for the end of the year. And then our second activity is going to be from our Paint Lab book, and it's called Painting on Water. I'm just going to show you the end result, and then this is kind of how we're going to go through it. Okay, I'm just going to let you look at that for a minute, and then I'll talk about it. So we are going to start, I'm trying to find my cardstock. Every kid gets a full piece of cardstock. This is my pre-cut one. An 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. They are going to cut it down to probably 2 of these about this size. It has to fit inside of this 8 by 8 pie tin that I'll show you. It's full right now, but it has to fit inside of this. So they need to cut it down. We're going to get liquid starch for you guys, and there's 6 pans per class. So depending on, this is week 3, you'll probably have most kids there. So you can either decide if you want to just double up your kids, so kids work in pairs, or if you have enough for every student, then every student can do their own setup that I'll show you in a second. So you can decide how you're going to work that. Inside of your extra bin, like of all the stuff, you have a thing of paints that says week 3 on it. You're going to use those this week. You're not going to use the paints that are in your green bin. You need your paintbrushes inside of your green bin. And I put glitter to sparkle on top if you have some girls, or if you want it. Might be a fun touch. It's not provided though, so you would have to bring it if you want to do it. And white paint, which is actually in your white, which is in your green bin if you want that, and I will explain that if you want to do it. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this because I already filled this thing up. Okay, I'm going to move this. So you are going to take your 8x8 pan, and you're going to fill it about, not very full, like a quarter of an inch full, just so the paint gets on there. And then you're going to take all of your paints in Dixie cups, and what we need a consistency that's pourable but still very thick, but it's too thick if you don't add water. So I added just a splash of water, and then I mixed it together, and that was about enough. It almost was too much for some of the colors. And some of these colors, like these ones, were much more watery than this one and these two. So you kind of have to gauge it. So I can't give you an exact amount. That morning, if you want a mom to start mixing colors for you, you can ask me if that looks like a good consistency. So this is going to be starch. I used milk because I did not have the liquid starch. So the liquid starch will hold it better than the milk. But what you're going to do is then you're going to take your paper and you're going to just set it on top. See, this paper is still just a little too big. You're going to set it on top. I'm going to move you back because I need 2 hands to pull it up. And then with 2 fingers on each side, I don't know if this is going to work. You're going to pull it up. Let's see. Oh, it did. Okay. So because it's milk versus liquid starch, it will hold better. But that's what you got. So that's your upside down image. So you saw it in the pan, and then you got it. We kind of did this last year with a reverse image of something else, but now we're doing it like this. And then you're going to have maybe the same, if you're going to double up your partners, you can go 1, 2, 1, 2, or you can go 1, 1, 2, 2, since each kid will have 2 pieces of paper. They might need a little bit more paint to put in. If the starch gets muddy, then just dump that out and start fresh for the kids. But I would encourage them to just see like what they have with what it is, and it may not be as cool as the first one, or as defined. Maybe is a better word. It might not be as defined as the first one, but that's also okay, because then you might see different images in the second one. So I'm sorry, I don't know if I explained that really well. So you're gonna take your poured paint and you're kind of gonna spread it into your pan, and it's gonna sit on top of the water. And if your child or whoever student feels that it's necessary, they can take a paintbrush and they can mix it in to make a different kind of swirled image. And then afterwards, when that's done, if you have enough time, you can take a little bit of white paint and let some kids just put it in a Dixie cup like this, put some water, and you can have kids do the splatter technique. So you just put it on there and they could splatter some white right on top. So you just hit the back of your brush as long as the white is watered down. If you have more questions about that, let me know, but this is getting very long, so I'm just going to stop for now. Good luck.